Alright guys, I've worked on this mower before. I even started recording stuff, and I'm pretty sure it just needed a coil, which I just got the other day. So I'm gonna throw it on, and this is the mower, Cub Cadet, and the coil's right here. This is actually where it goes, bolts on right there. And it looks like this mower was sitting outside. I had it hooked up to a battery charger, which it's charged, so I shouldn't have any problems with that, other than oil still looks good. Last time I did an oil change on it. I'm hoping no water got down there. But I'm gonna put the coil on there, so subscribe. Comment down below if you think that'll be the problem. Obviously I haven't tried doing anything yet, but I'm gonna throw that on there and we're gonna find out. Well, hopefully it's the same coil, because when I was ordering it, it was slightly different, but it should be the same. Yeah, pull these 5/16 bolts out. Now that it plugs right into the bottom, I'm gonna plug this in while I have it off so it's easier, a little bit easier. This goes this side out. Now the magnet is over here, so it's not just pulling it straight into the thing. I'm gonna put these on by hand. 5/16. That's about as far away as I want it. I don't want it rubbing. It's kind of like a credit card length in there. This side, about where I want it. Now, there is no fuel in this either, but this goes to a different mower. I don't need these. This goes on here if you wanted to do that. Should just need this. And it should crank, at least. And then I'll probably move all my tools, take it out of the garage. Alright, let's get some fuel in it. I'm gonna disconnect the batteries. Battery charger, not disconnect the battery. The charger for the battery. I'll unplug that as well. Ooh, should just put fuel in it, see if it starts. Then I can just drive it out. Alright. Alright, let's see if it starts. It's on choke. Maybe I'll get it to level ground somehow. Ooh. It's in neutral, I promise. Well, let's just see if it'll start on carb cleaner. Alright, so it might not be getting fuel. I'm gonna change out this fuel filter because it does look pretty old. Alright, I'm just gonna use these needle nose pliers to move these clips. Alright, should be enough to get the new fuel filter on. Make sure I put it on the same way. Pull this out. Clog it up with my finger. And boom. Well, just throw that in the trash. Choke. Oh, that's not a bunch of water, is it? There's like a bunch of fluids were in the carburetor. Uh-oh. Oh no. What could that be? That might be water. Doesn't look like it's affecting the oil. It's like gurgling though. Well, that wasn't there until I put the fuel in. Kind of smells like gas. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of this. Hopefully not more than what's in here. What did I do with those pliers? Oh yeah, that looks like water. Yeah, I think this thing's full of water. Alright, we're gonna drain all that out. I don't know if that was fuel or what that was. Definitely burning something. Although the last time I did look at it, there was a ton of oil just spraying out of the exhaust. So I might do an oil change on it again. Just because if it was sitting outside, that's The reason I think it was sitting outside is because this is a little bit rusty, but everything else kind of seems fine, so. Oh! It's definitely getting too much fuel, I think. I imagine this somehow clips and pulls. Oh, yep, it's going that way. Like I said, spill and leak somehow, and it does kind of look like there's water in there. Alright, well, I'm trying to catch anything that's leaking out of here, and it's not leaking if I have it covered. Plug that really quick, stick that on the ground, hopefully catch all that, and then see what all comes out of it, and try and catch it all in this again, because it's just making a big mess. I am going to try to get all that out of there. I have to drain that out of there too, however it got in there. Alright, let's grab this. Good thing I have a power washer. I can totally power wash all this oil off of here. I don't have the spark plug connected, but I'm just trying to get all the oil and stuff out of it. That almost seemed like it was going to start still for some reason. I'm not sure how that's full of stuff. I don't even know how long I've been letting this thing sit for, but it's somehow still draining. Now I gotta put fresh oil in it again. Alright, let's see. There's 44 ounces in this. Glug, 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 glug. Alright, that feels about half. Now we'll check it. Very low. Still low. Should be enough to try and start it and then see. Right. Might help if I put this back on. I think it might be spitting up water, possibly. I thought it was gonna smoke a lot more because I thought there might still be a little bit of water in here, but I think it's good. Might add a little bit more oil to it. Seems a little bit low, but other than that, and the little bit of popping, might be too much fuel, which that's what I was adjusting on there, but I probably adjust the air on it as well. I'll have to mess with that a little bit, but. And I'm just gonna mess with fuel stuff on there a little bit. Get rid of the popping sound, hopefully. I might need to drain something out of the carburetor. Turn the key off so the battery doesn't die. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna plug the fuel line and empty the carburetor bowl and see if that fixes anything. Oh yeah, this actually looks a little filthy. Bad fuel in here. That's green, so that's probably the problem. Now let me grab my carb cleaner and spray all that out. Because this thing did sit for at least a year. I'm gonna throw this back on. Don't remember which way it goes, honestly. It has to go this way. It's on there. It's on there. Alright, that's on there, nice and tight. Fuel back in, even though there's no more fuel in there. Should run good now. Yeah, there's no fuel. Let me grab some fuel and choke. This is leaking somehow. Somehow that's leaking fuel through this. I'm not too sure why it's doing that. Alright, I took the whole float apart. This little piece that drops down in there, it's got some gunk green all over it, and there's like a little black gasket that goes all the way around it. Is actually in half. Very hard to see this tiny piece. So I'm gonna clean that, put a new gasket on there. I think I have gaskets hopefully small enough to fit on there. And I'm gonna put it all back together and then we'll see how it runs. All right, I just put carburetor all back together. Let's see if it still does the same thing. I cleaned the carburetor, a little piece, and put a new gasket on it. Oh, there's still a bunch of stuff sitting in there. Is there really no fuel in this again? There's a little bit in there. I don't know what's getting in or how it's getting in there. Should start. Got the spark plug on. It is just spitting fuel out of this or something out of this. Okay, now that all that's maybe drained out. I'm not sure why or how it's spitting fuel out of this. Alright, after the 100th time pulling this apart, this little hole that's a little bit green was clogged. I just used these to unclog it. Now I think we should be good to put it all back together and it should be fine. Alright, try number whatever it is. I'm going to undo this. Fuel in. Well, it's still spitting fuel. It's just overflowing with fuel. Why is it overflowing with fuel? Look at all that. You can kind of see it flowing. I wonder if my fuel filter is not good. Alright, I got a new gasket, so I'm gonna replace that because this one looks a little squished and deformed, and this might be a problem causing it to do whatever you want to call backfiring out of that. Alright, I got the new gasket on. Now I just gotta put this back on correct way. Oh, the gasket just came off. Goes on like this. I'm gonna get a screwdriver, tighten those down, and we'll fire it up. Alright, I got that all put on. Disconnect this so fuel will go back into carburetor. I'm gonna put the choke on and see if it starts. Seems to be running a little bit better, but there's still something I might have to adjust on it. At least it's from it still popping. Alright, just put all the cover and air filter on, so let's see how it runs with that on. Let's see how it mows. That doesn't sound good. Something is in the exhaust boiling. I can see something boiling out of it. I don't know if you guys can see that. It looks kind of filthy on this. What happens when I try to crank it over? Yeah, I'm gonna get that out of the garage. I think that was fuel. I'm just gonna pinch the fuel line off. No reason. Oh, that's all the fuel. Somehow the carburetor needle's probably not sealing right, or whatever it's supposed to do. So I have to look at that. Alright, I flipped a few things around in the carburetor. I guess I gotta put that spark plug back in. Well, I'll just see if it overflows and starts shooting fuel out of this again, actually. A little bit. That should be a good thing, because it has to get a little bit of fuel in there for it to start. I'm probably gonna have to replace the float or the needle, because something's not working right. All right, I got some new carburetor parts. I'm gonna have to take the bowl back off for the who knows how many times. I think this whole thing just has something wrong with it. Based on the fuel going straight into the cylinder, that little metal piece is not in there. Here's the little gasket that would go around that I don't think would fit. I need this. Here's the needle. Probably not gonna be made of crap. Okay, and as I drop it, where'd that go? That's very unfortunate. I know it landed on the deck. I saw it. There it is right there. Well, now it's filthy. Okay, this piece fits. There we go. This piece goes down like that. Then this all goes down in there. Then the gasket goes this way. Or maybe I use the new one because this one is a little stretched out. In here, and make sure this goes back on correctly. Uh-oh. It's not going back up correctly anyway. How does that not, it has to fit. Then this has to swivel this way, like that. See, this gasket is not sitting straight at all. And that's gonna be an issue. Come on, it's not lining up. Something's not. There we go. Strip all of that, so this just is not gonna go on now. That's crazy. Okay, well, I don't even know why I bothered trying to do this. Thought this was gonna be easy. All right, this whole carburetor's messed up, so I went ahead and got a new one. I'm just gonna replace this one. I like stripped one of the bolts out and it broke, and it just needs replaced now. But I think it's probably just better to replace it anyways, because it's just not doing any good, or it wasn't. Assuming that was even the problem. Yep, 7/16. Not sure what this rubber band is for. Yeah, just held this closed so it would fit in the packaging better, I think. Oh, I guess I gotta get these on too. Oh, these are loose. That could have been the problem right there. That was letting too much air in, probably. Unless those loosened up as I pulled this out. Well, that's the old carburetor. Probably just save that for parts or something. I just gotta hook all this back up the same way it all came off. Trying to make sure I don't bend the spring here. I'm gonna have to use the needle nose pliers. I can't get my fat fingers to get this in there. All right, that's all hooked up. Now we can tighten these back on here. Come on, guys, you didn't warn me about the gasket. Can't let me forget to put the gasket on. And whatever this thing does. All right, let's get the gasket on so we don't forget that. Gotta just slide it on. Nope, don't slide out. Guys, can you hold this for me? Yeah, just hold the gasket right there. Yeah, just like that. Now, I'll start screwing these in. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for the help. I need this air breather tube to go back on this as well. Everything seems like it's working. Put the fuel line back on. I'm gonna put this back on. I have a new air filter, so I can remove this nasty one. Just like that. I think it goes on like this. Yep. It's gotta be like that. And we're gonna let fuel in, assuming there's still fuel in there. Yeah, there is. So it's not doing the pop backfire thing anymore. Or it's just acting like the choke is on if I gotta adjust it. It's leaving skid marks on my driveways because these, well, that came off the rim, but these are not spinning. I don't think those have been greased ever. But that's gonna be the end of this video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. I've always got tons of different mowers. Go check out some of my other videos if you haven't already. You might be having a problem with your mower, or if you have future problems with your mower, could be it. So see you guys in the next video.